It looks like the destiny decided to award me for losing extra weight and gave me this SVJ for a test drive. Damn it, I hit my head. Shall we take the roof off or not? Even a taxi driver is not looking at us. Come on, bro, please look at this car. Okay, look, there is a pedestrian. But seems like he also doesn't care. Hey, I'm driving an SVJ! I don't get it. How can they sell this car for 500,000 bucks when you still have to insert the key here? There's no key, let's go. This is a Lamborghini SVJ. Hit the like button and let's go. Let's go. For 500,000 there's no even a windshield hood, and this windshield is placed under such angle that I don't see anything because of the sun. I don't even see the road, so maybe you should drive it. And it was not easy to get this car. First we went to the racing event, it's called RDRC, and there I met the owner of this car. He was standing there with a company of his friends, so I came there with all of my respect just to make friends. And between this and then I asked the owner if I could take his car for a test drive, and while standing there he was like, "Of course, no problem, bro. My man, for you, anything." It was so nice to hear, and I thought, wow, this guy's really awesome. But when I called him in a couple of days, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man, I'm not in the city right now, and I don't think I can give you the car." So then I decided to take this car for a test drive. And it belongs to my friend whose name is Vitaly. And Vitaly is really an awesome guy. But suddenly he says, "Sorry, bro, I already promised him to give this car for a test drive, because you're gonna slag it off." I said I don't know yet whether I'm gonna slag it off or not, because I need to drive it first at least, and I still don't know whether I'm gonna slag it off or not, because I don't have such a purpose. He says, "Okay, are you gonna race it at the test drive?" I say, "What you think? What else should I do at the test drive?" "What are you talking about? How am I supposed to test it without racing?" I never understood guys who shoot test drives of such cars, and they drive like 40 miles per hour, and then they like changing lanes at 50 miles per hour and say, "What a nice steering." The philosophy of this car is racing. This is an art of car industry. This car is a fine point of gasoline engines. This is the end of era of gasoline dinosaurs. This car is the end of our insane gasoline industry and the end of our insane gasoline love. Can't believe this fucking tunnel spoiled my sincere speech. Ignore it, just go on. No. I will cut it out. I've lost connection with God and got it again, so let's go on. You have to mind that very soon we're going to lose everything we love. All these nature-killing, dirty, oily and stinky gasoline engines that we used to love so much. And this car is one of the fine points of this ellipsis. We're gonna get very few true gasoline stories before we finally hear this sound. Beep. And I thank my lucky stars for having an opportunity to test this car on a very smooth road in a very good weather. So finally, let's downshift and kick its ass a little bit. You're welcome. For those who did not know, they produce a Lamborghini Aventador, the economy class. Then they have a Lamborghini Aventador SV, the economy plus. Then goes the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, and that's the Lux category. And finally, the penthouse and the most expensive one, the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ 63. That's the coolest one. Hey, wait a minute, you missed the Aventador S. No, I didn't, because I don't want to talk about it. F that shit. This car is a winner and a champion of a Nürburgring racing track. Having accomplished it in 6:44, it actually made everyone gargle with its cock. And I'm talking about them, and them. But does it actually mean that a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ is one of the best cars in the world? And the question that interests me even more is, am I gonna like it or not? And that's what I'm about to figure out today. Surprisingly, I can't say this car grips the asphalt perfectly. Even despite it's so big and heavy, this car has a huge and heavy engine. Somehow it doesn't feel to have that surgical precision and accuracy that, for example, the Performante used to have. I don't feel it. They're proud with their V12 and they say it provides an incredible sound. That's why they've made this special button that opens the back window, just in case if you want to hear this sound better. Okay. What the hell was that, I wonder? And then a pause for like half a second, and then it goes on accelerating. Oh, come on, what's wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with the shifting? Oh, give me a second. I still hope the Corsa mode is the problem, just let me check it. Nope. When the car is in the sport mode, it takes like half a second to think when they're shifting, but when in the normal mode, it takes like ages. Look, it's the second gear. I'm gonna accelerate and shift it, just check it out. See? Performante did it much faster, I swear to God. The menu in the multimedia system is a pure 2010 from Audi. And look at these deflectors. Jesus Christ, honestly. Am I the only one who pays attention to it? Such elements of the interior make this car look so ununique. Are they from Volkswagen Polo? Why do I get the interior from a Volkswagen Polo in a car for $500,000? And yes, it's got the Alcantara, it's got the carbon, everything is beautiful and nice. But still, there's not a single high technological thing inside here. I don't see... There's nothing new inside here. And this is one more reason why I think that if you are just a regular driver who has lots of money and you want to buy yourself a pimp car to show off, just buy yourself a regular Aventador in case if you like this appearance and put an SVJ sticker on it, simply because 98 people out of 100 will never see this fucking difference. They never will. Well, at least the guys from Volkswagen Group understood that they found a perfect design for their Lamborghinis, so they use it in every car. And everyone actually likes it, because the car is really beautiful, and even I myself used to want this car so much, but now, after I've finally driven it, I kinda changed my mind, because just let's be honest, an objective, this car is impossible to be driven on Russian roads, even in Moscow. There are still some places that are completely irresistible for this automobile. So no matter the engine sound, will be everything you hear. And if you drive it to the third ring road, this car will be dead after the second circle. Even at the speed I'm driving it right now, this car doesn't fit here. Also, this automobile's got ALA system. And it's the same system Performante used to have, and actually they still have it. However, if you want to make this system work properly, you really have to work hard and kick the shit out of this automobile. If you want to feel it working, you have to race it and squeeze all the liquids out of it, but still I can't imagine myself buying this automobile for $500,000, even despite all the advantages of this car. And now let's talk about the numbers. Officially, it takes 2.7 seconds from 0 to 60. Okay, let's do it. The record's on. That's all it's got, 3.3 seconds. Now it's 3.4. It's recording, let's go. Seems like this car is not the best way to spend your $500,000. Are you ready? Let's go. Maybe you should try to launch it. I am launching. I was launching every time. A BMW M5 for 100,000 will destroy this car. If you buy this car just to show off somewhere, then my question is, where exactly? On track? Well, there are lots of guys driving Porsches and they drive so fast that it may become quite a challenge to compete them. Same thing I can say about guys driving M5s and M4s and M3s, and they're quite experienced. And if you want to show off on public roads, Maybe. But imagine yourself being so handsome, cool, and pimpy, driving your Lamborghini SVJ with some sexy little chick beside you. She looks at you and says, "I'm already wet." And you're like, "Hey baby, check this out." And you challenge some poor douchebag driving a BMW i8 or an M5 F90 with some slight stage 2. And he completely destroys you and drives away from you very, very far. So what's this car is all about for such a price? What is it for? And by the way, if you buy this Lamborghini with its 3.4 seconds to 60, God save you from meeting this automobile, because it's probably gonna be the most embarrassing race in your life. And even if they have 3 big men inside, hardly they're gonna lose you more than half a body. So this beautiful appearance and carbon fiber doesn't make it fast. I know it's incorrect to compare this car with a BMW CS, but I'm afraid a CS is gonna destroy this SVJ if we arrange a drag racing, no matter from 0 to 60 with launch or after 60 miles per hour. And that's a 4-door sedan with 4 seats, and it can be comfortable. And that is the reason I always prefer German cars. German cars are much more practical. And here, you give your money away only for the name of the brand. You pay for this V12 and for the loudness of its sound, and for this appearance. That's it. That's all you get for this money. I'm driving 37 miles per hour at the 6th gear, and that's how it sounds. By the way, talking about Ferraris, and those cars are unreliable buckets with bolts that however look very beautiful, but technically they are very unreliable, and I think they always will. And when some true Ferrari fans tell me about the quality of those Ferrari cars, please let me disagree with you. I don't believe it. Almost every Ferrari car I had to deal with always faced some technical problems, so comparing to Ferraris, this car is better. However, wait a second. Now I really would like you guys to plunge into this situation, because it cost $500,000. And lots of experienced Volkswagen engineers worked on this car, and they had to calculate everything inventing this design, and I guess they discussed the elements of the car the buyers will pay attention to. And they were like walking around the car imagining themselves buyers. So they were walking around it, looking at it and talking about it. Well, this part looks fucking awesome. And I guess our customers definitely gonna like the wheels, and no doubts about this. That's a fuck up, but he's definitely not gonna look there. So let's go on the bumper. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what was happening there, because how else could they not notice and skip this? This is not a custom part. This is a stock car. This car was made like this. There's a rusty hole inside there with a thread, an empty rusty hole for $500,000. It has run only 1,200 miles. This is a new car. And why the engineers didn't think about this, for example? Just look over here, do you see it? These are small stones. What I'm trying to say is that this car eats your money when you just drive it, because all of these stones get right into these radiators, the big ones, because the cooling system is rather serious here. And now please take a look at this grill. I'm not an engineer myself, but I may suppose that it must fit this hole. But somehow it doesn't. Why this grill hangs in the air and doesn't even touch this part of the panel? Couldn't they fucking calculate the size of this hole? And I just can't get the question out of my mind. Because I've always considered Lamborghini much more, and I still do if we compare it to Ferrari, for example, or to some McLaren. I've considered it the most reliable, fast supercar among all of their opponents. Because they have more opportunities and more technologies and much more money. Volkswagen is a powerful company. So I can't get rid of the question, how can you sell a supercar with such a noisy plastic interior? And all the car, by the way, produce lots of strange noises, as if I'm riding a bucket with balls for $500,000. How could you skip such a fuck up? This is a simple miscalculation. And I don't know, maybe I would forgive it to a regular Aventador, because seriously, who the hell cares? Anyway, they will buy it. But this is not a car for a regular buyer. You sell these cars for very rich people, so why do you make them like this? We're driving through the city, and I hope you hear the sound inside of the car. At any speed bump, you have to raise the front, otherwise you simply rip off this beautiful front bumper. And of course, when you accelerate, the car lowers it back. But I completely hate this shifting. It shifts like a ladder. Sorry, but I don't understand what I should pay such money for, I swear to God. I can, for example, understand the point of existence of a Chiron or a Veyron, but again, 2 million bucks for what? For making some unique engine? Okay, whatever, they've made a unique engine and a unique transmission, even though it's not that unique anymore. Today, a Lucid, for example, is much more unique. Today, a Rivian is a unique car, and other cars, like this one and this one and this one, these cars are unique, but the car I'm driving now is not. They try to blow all the last powers out of this V12 engine. They still tune it and try to squeeze out everything they can. They do some kind of their magic and tricks and boost it, but 770 horsepower cannot surprise anyone anymore. But let's try to be objective how old this Aventador is, and that's how old it is. And since it's that old, everything becomes clear. They just add some more bling on it every time and keep selling it. On the whole, the car is cool. But when it's not yours, I just want you to understand what I mean. It's so stupid to buy such a car and to be afraid to meet a BMW M5 F90 or some other rival. This is nonsense, because it costs $500,000. This automobile is able to compete only other Aventadors. Or, I don't know, trucks or buses. Make them think you're cool. And I understand that this V12 engine is a poor and old grandpa that almost farts in his pants when he tenses up and strains, and passes the torch to the same old and tired transmission and this poor, wretched and miserable clutch, and all of it slowly dies while you're accelerating and launching. And while just driving it straight, I understand that I'm killing this automobile, because technically it's too old and tired. And I don't understand why they show this in their commercials. They show it's drifting and going sideways. Just believe me, this car will die if you drive it like this, because it's already dying. And they allow themselves such drawbacks as that grille. And they allow themselves selling this car for $500,000 with rusty bolts and rusty holes. And they allow themselves declaring that it accelerates in 2.7. Why you guys keep things so small? You should have said 2 seconds or 1.9, the sales would rise. Anyway, people who buy it, they don't understand the difference. They will scream, "Wow, it's so fast!" And that's it. This is the only thing they need. Jesus, to say that I'm disappointed with this car is to say nothing. And of course I know that a random guy in the street will never understand what I mean. And he will say, "No shit, man, this car is gorgeous. Look how beautiful and loud it is." And in some way he will get the point. So I can keep on talking about this Lamborghini SVJ. But you have to drive it yourself to understand what I'm talking about. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it yet, to follow our new videos, because believe me, it's gonna become more and more interesting. And now, look at this beautiful and carbon fiber panel. It's so nice to touch, and it looks good. But I'm wearing a watch. And I cannot do like this. Do you realize what's gonna happen if I do one wrong movement? I can scratch everything with my wrist. This is incredibly impractical. Incredibly impractical. You can drive it only wearing a sports suit. Cause actually that's all you can afford after buying this car. So my advice to you, just rent it and go downtown to show off, cause that's what it's made for. That's it. And once again, if you rent this car, don't forget to be very careful with these door panels, because if you scratch it, I'm afraid you will have to buy this automobile, because fixing all that is gonna cost you a lot.